again to this talk, and this time, so I wonder how many people have been on the previous talk with me. Maybe you can raise an emotion or something like that. I guess there was yes, there is this button with some. Yeah. Oh, I even see my colleagues here. Wonderful. So, yes, just a second. Good. Okay, thank you so much for being with me at this talk. And this talk, in this session, I am going to talk about, well, I believe a game changer we've been waiting for. And for me personally, this combination of MicroStream and Helidon may be really, really good combination and may really revolutionize everything. Well, for microservices, I would guess so. So once again, I'm for those of you who were not with me on the previous talk, I have to show this safe harbor slide just because any business decision you make may change. So any business decision based on this material I'm going to present you may change. So please check again if everything is up to date, and let us see actually what I'm going to talk about. Once again, for those of you who are not in the previous talk, my name is Dmitry. I'm writing code at Oracle. So whenever you have any questions, please write me an email or tweet me at this handle. And let's actually start. So on the previous talk about Helidon, we say, okay, that if we want to create a microservice, well, definitely we have to do this with Helidon because it's just amazing. But in general, microservices usually save data in the databases. It's very nice to have something which is completely stateless, completely, everything inside of the service. But if you want to save data in the databases, so this is the way it should be. We need to save it somehow. And what is the most effective way to do this these days? And actually, before actually going there, those of you who have been in the previous talk, I will a little bit mention once again Helidon. What is it? And I have to repeat a little bit myself, but it will be short, I guess. So whenever I talk about Helidon, so it is a Java framework for creating microservices. Its name is very nice. It's in Greek, it means swallow. So it's like a bird flying in the clouds. So it's very fast maneuverable bird. And I really enjoy the name because it really represents the idea of microservices, something small, maneuverable, flying in the clouds. Definitely a wonderful choice. It is open sourced under Apache 2.0 license, so everything is GitHub. You can just go to GitHub, see all the code, propose any changes you would like, and if you have any issues, just write it down. By the way, we have even our, I would say, open source support. So we have our duties. So if you have questions in our official Slack channel, which I may post a little bit later, I will post. You will see it in the slides. You can just ask questions and you will receive answers quite shortly because we even have our improvised duty for that. So it's built on top of Netty, so it means it's very, very fast. And it's made asynchronous underneath, and I will mention about it a little bit later. And it's completely cloud native ready. That means that whenever you write your microservice with Helidon, it is you have REST and health and metrics tracing everything on board. So it means that we live in a cloud native world, really, as first-class citizens. As best-in-class GraalVM native image support, so all the services you build, you can build it like 99% of your code, you can build it in GraalVM, and it will work extremely fast with extremely fast startup times. As I say, good performance, so it's really good. And as you see, you have 3 graphs here describing Helidon, and these 3 graphs are because we not only support just JVM builds for Helidon, it's not just a jar, but you can also, as I mentioned earlier, you can create a GraalVM native image out of it, which is really small. But in the middle, you can see something with JLink, and with Helidon, since it's modular by its nature from the very default, so we're using this Java modularity, which was provided in earlier versions of Java. You can just throw away all the code you don't need out of it, and the JVM will start faster. It will be more secure because you don't have any code out of it that is not running. It's simply not there, so it's not going to be a security hole for you, and it will perform even better. And if you remember, if you know, the main architecture of Helidon is like made of these 3 layers. So you have Netty, you have Helidon Reactive, which is a set of reactive libraries built on top of Netty to provide you functionality of web server, all this observability features like health tracing and metrics, and other modules to connect to other services, to read from database, etc., etc. And we have chosen to be part of the MicroProfile as our standard. Means that on top of this reactive, we have a set of libraries, which is we call it Helidon MP, which complies to Helidon to MicroProfile specification set. So actually, Helidon is really cool with that. You have Helidon MP, which is I would say, declarative style of writing code. It follows the Jakarta and Spring Boot way of doing things. So it just puts some annotations, some magic happens, and your microservice is up and running. And you have Helidon SE way of writing code, which is Java only. It's fully reactive and non-blocking way of writing code. This makes it extremely fast. So it's designed for faster, much faster environments. It has really tiny footprint because it simply has no magic that Helidon MP with this CDI provides, but it's like a little bit closed ecosystem, but it's pure Java code. Helidon MP, from the other side, is cool with that. It supports this MicroProfile set of specifications. So MicroProfile, as you know, is a community initiative to create specifications for cloud-native microservices. This is not just something from Jakarta EE. It's overlaps, so intersects. Some specifications are available in both specification sets, but it's really designed for microservices. So that means that if you choose, if you like, for example, have distributed system, which microservices is, any architecture based on microservices is a representative of distributed system, then there are specifications which are designed for you to work in this environment. Like, for example, you have something which is broken. Some services may fail unpredictably, so you have fault tolerance for that. You can check the health of any service with health checks. There's a specification for that. You get metrics for all the telemetry information you get from your services. There is tracing if your services form more than one, if your business call forms more than one service call, so you can trace how the service call is going and who is maybe causing the trouble there. And you can have also the Open API to describe your services and to generate clients out of it. The next thing is configuration. So it's made portable as well. So that means whenever you have the code to be ported, for example, the main idea is that you have MicroProfile and you have a vendor who supports MicroProfile, you can easily migrate your code from one vendor to another. It will work in terms of specification. So if it supports current version of specification, it will work out of the box. But the same is with configuration. So you don't have to make different configurations for different vendors. So the configuration is portable as well. And that's what makes MicroProfile a good choice, because whenever you want to migrate to Helidon, for example, from other vendor, it will be seamless in terms of MicroProfile specification. And if you migrate to Helidon, choose Helidon for your development, for your projects, you will have even more than that. So you have MicroProfile specifications. You have additional specifications which are standalone specifications, also under Eclipse MicroProfile Foundation. So like GraphQL, LRA, reactive streams, reactive messaging. By the way, in my next session with MicroProfile, you will there will be an example, there will be a case when we explore exactly LRA. And if so more than that, you receive even the Jakarta persistence and WebSocket specifications, although as transactions. So it means when you get Helidon MP, you get full MicroProfile and even more than that. And we are happy that we are based on Weld, and we are the one who actually gives you the possibility to use Weld even in native image. So that means that if you build your Helidon application with GraalVM, you will have full CDI working in native image, which makes us quite unique. So as you know, other vendors may have like limited sets of CDI, so they don't have full support of CDI, but here we are happy with that. And the other way is that we provide this reactive set of libraries. So that means MicroProfile is a standard way to do code. It solves 80% of your problems, but if you need performance, Helidon SE is your choice. So it provides you all the same set of specifications, and even more. So we have even reactive web client and DB client. That means that you receive the same functionality, but with reactive code, reactive paradigm, making it extremely fast. So you can see this in the numbers as well. So the memory footprints, disk usages, and startup times are even less than Helidon MP, just because it provides you a way, it just removes all the magic I told you later, and it provides a really good startup and performance values. And as you see, it also supports all the modularity, so we can get all three types of applications. Should it be just a jar? Should it be a GraalVM native image or a JLink prepared image, custom image for you and your application? And here now we come to another game changer. So I believe that Helidon also is quite impressive with this numbers, but you know, I always say microservices have to be really micro, and they have to be really, really fast. And here comes another player of this awesome combination. I think it will create I would call it a game changer, is the MicroStream. So we come to the second component. So you will probably see more details about MicroStream in this conference. So just check the agenda. But for now, you can see that it's a high performance Java native persistence, I would say. So the idea is that you can store and load any Java object, graph, or subgraph partially without actually going to any relational databases with all these GPAs, all this ORMs, etc., etc. So that means that you just take the object and you store it directly, and you restore it also directly. So you just eliminate this layer of object relating to relational database. So it provides you really ultra high throughput with really small latencies and really better memory usage. So it sounds to be just a perfect choice for us for microservices. So as far as I know, I may be wrong here, but please correct me if I'm wrong, or I believe you will find a more detailed answer about what MicroStream is in other talks here in this conference. But the idea that it's based on a completely new serialization. So that means usually to serialize, you just take all the object graph and you store it and you serialize it. With MicroStream, you can take not only the graph, but also the subgraphs. So that means sub-objects, and you can serialize them and deserialize them separately to somewhere. And this somewhere means that you can store your objects in many places. So it's going to be just with the embedded storage manager, it's just a storage to your local disk. So just store it as a file. I guess actually it creates two files for you. You can store it to even to a database actually. So it can be, but you don't have to care about all this ORM, etc., etc. So we just push it to some database somewhere. It can be in the clouds using, for example, S3. And for all of that, you have different connectors. So in MP, what makes really cool? So now, as you have understanding of what MicroStream may look like, we will directly use it in our Helidon MP code and see how it works. So it's generally very, very easy. Helidon has support and integration with MicroStream. That means that if you put a dependency, I will show it later in my code, it has seamless integrations with MicroStream, and it provides you several annotations that actually configure your code and configure your managers to work with inside of Helidon. So what we have here, for example, if we have a code with greeting provider, we can simply inject our embedded storage with configurations. That is part of Helidon, by the way. So it just reads the Helidon configuration and creates the, in this case, embedded storage to serve it locally. And then that's it. It creates you the storage and you can easily use it. So for example, if we need to store our greeting messages, it will just create us an object called storage, and that's it. You don't have to think about this ORMs, all this mappings, and so on and so on. It just creates the files for you, and that's it. The same is actually achieved in Helidon SE. As you see, Helidon SE provides no magic philosophy. That means that there is special supporting objects, like, for example, in our case, embedded storage manager builder, which configures MicroProfile for you and creates this storage and makes it available to you. And that's it. And you use it as just a regular object. That's it. Your objects are just pure Java object without any annotations, by the way, and just use it and store them and restore them as easy as that. So let us actually jump into the code. What makes it quite cool is that, yes, usually if you jump into the code, you can generate the code using Project Starter or our Helidon init application, Helidon CLI application to initialize it. But in my case, I will just jump into the IntelliJ and go directly to the code with our application, which is the greeting application in this case. So what do we have here? First of all, to work properly with MicroStream, you have only one dependency, which is integration. As you see, it's a Helidon integration with MicroStream. That means that out of the box, we support it. Whenever you add it, you receive MicroStream support. So it takes all the dependency within, so you don't have to put anything else. And as you see, for example, we want to create a greeting provider which actually stores the messages we have provided to him. And every time we restart the application, it just reads the greeting messages to us from the database and allows us to reuse them again and again. So every time you stop your application, it will have a persistent state. And let us actually see how it runs. As I showed you in the code, so we have a special annotations actually provided by the guys from MicroStream, which configures our storage manager. And that's it. You just use it as a pure object. So it will just store all our messages. You see, once again, it's just a list. So you don't have to make all this crazy, I would say, mappings and ORMs, etc., etc. You just use pure Java list. And technically, that's it. So just get the greetings and read them. The only thing, as you see, we have this lock here. You have to be, you have to care about it. So it's not out of the box thread safe. So that means that every time you do work with this storage object, you have to care about the thread safety. That's it. And then you just reuse the resource. So we will create, as you see in Helidon MP, it's very, very easy to create a resource. You just put some annotations, like in a path greet, and it will be request scope in this case. And it will simply work out of the box. So, for example, we can get default message, or we can have we can create response for a special name. And here, for example, as we update the greeting, we actually persist this greeting to database. So it's very, very simple and very easy example. But what's good about it is it gives you a full demonstration of what happens inside. So if you don't mind, I will just run it. So I wonder if it's built. I think it's built, but I will build it again to be completely sure. I see it even has some tests. So if we just to make it sure that we are on JDK 17. Yes. So, oh, by the way, I think I have to rebuild it again for JDK 17 because the Java class will be different as version. So now, if you see, we just do run the application. Yes, it's a long name. What's wrong? Oh, let's see the demo gods. Inventory, hey, what's wrong with you? With annotations. Okay, the demo gods are not with me today. Let's see what's the problem. Wait a second. So it's going to be greeting. It's going to be, give me, I will just not use this example. I'm sorry. Checked, inventory, project. I have a feeling I have deleted something wrong, but let me clean some of the code. Maybe it has an issue with the previous run. Oh my God, what is wrong with you? Just give me a second, please. I will say to JDK 17 and just check this example if it works okay. Good. Target. Okay, this one works. Something is wrong with my setup. I will just check what may be the issue. Or actually just leave it as it is. Just because debugging online will be a little bit slow. I'm sorry for that. But if you go to our, what is good, it's just available directly in our examples. These examples are, you just run it. Maybe there's something wrong in my setup right now because I'm doing several demos. And maybe I did several or some issue, but you can just play with it directly within our examples set. So my apologies for that. Okay, so this demo did not work, but it's probably my failure, and I will investigate it right after, not right after this talk, but after a few talks. What is good? That we have like full integration with that. Full integration means that it's not only providing you support for working with this database, but also gives you ability to do health checks. As I told you, for example, health checks is a way to see if your service is ready to serve your requests. And this is exactly the situation. For example, your service may be up and running, but you cannot connect to any database or any the environment was not set correctly. In terms of MicroStream, for example, it was not able to initialize the storage. So it gives you ability to check whether it's up and running. And with this dependency, you can add the health checks directly to Helidon. That means it will check MicroStream if it's okay, if it's ready to serve, and we're just registering it because in Helidon you have to register in Helidon SE. You have to register your support for health metrics and tracing. For example, you just register, and it will check for the liveness of your MicroStream and also add this information to your code. The same is for metrics. If you want to generate metrics from MicroStream, you just add a dependency and register it within Helidon SE, and it will provide you all the metrics information for Helidon MicroStream. Or you can even create a MicroStream cache with it. So if you just use caching, you can use special annotation with MicroStream cache, and it will do the caching for you. There is an example of that. So if we now take a look at our demo, so I hope it works right now. Give me a second. Yes, now we will go directly to Helidon SE and check that, for example, if we need a greeting service which locks all the greetings that we did and persist them, and we want to check it health and metrics information, once again, we just add a dependency. In our case, have integration with MicroStream health and MicroStream metrics. Then you just add them as MicroStream health checks and metrics supports. And with this automatic endpoints, health checks and metrics, it will provide you with the required information. I really hope it will work right now. Let us see how it is. So it works in terms of started. See how fast actually it did start. And now if we do curl and get health, for example, let us see what's written here. You will see that it added a check for us, which means that, for example, MicroStream is up and running. That means that whenever you have MicroStream and you need to check if the service is up, you will say, just with adding this integration support that is running. If it will be not running, the full status will be not running. Once again, that means that your service is unable to perform the requests that you actually need. Okay, let us jump back to the code. MicroStream, yep. And there is, it's all, by the way, now available from version 2.4, but the next thing is that for Helidon 2, there is also a CDI extension for using MicroStream. Why I'm saying that, as you know, the main extension mechanism of Helidon is CDI. So CDI is a standard way for you to create additional functionality for anything that supports CDI. So making a CDI extension makes that this extension is portable also in terms of MicroProfile. Once again, what is cool about it is that this CDI extension was actually made, I think, by Payara guys. But if you drop into Helidon, it just works because it's CDI and because it's standard. For now, it is available for Helidon 2 because Helidon 2 is still in JavaX namespace. As for example, for Java 3, Helidon 3 is already Jakartified. It's moved to MicroProfile 5. That means that this extension will only work for Helidon 2. But if we jump into the demo and actually see how it works, you will see that it provides you just a slightly different mechanism to work with MicroStream. You see that the integration I showed you is specific to Helidon only. So it's an extension. It's also, by the way, a CDI extension, but it's specific only to Helidon SC as it reads configuration information from Helidon config. And it's done mostly for Helidon SE and Helidon, Helidon SE MP. But with this extension, you can easily just inject the storage to your application. So let us have a look. So if we have an inventory, you just annotate it as a storage. So this is a CDI type, and you can just inject the persistor. The persistor is something which is carrying for, persisting your data to the code. And basically that's it. You start working with your code the same as you did for just the usual object. For example, you just take the persistor and store it. So all the credits, for example, go to official MicroStream repo, so you can just play with it. And it's so easy. But the only thing about it is, I will see if it runs right now, by the way. So Maven, in package. So it uses underneath, it uses Helidon, which is version 2, because it's in JavaX namespace. As far as I know from the MicroStream guys, they are going to Jakartify MicroStream quite soon, until the end of this year, I guess, or in the version 8 of MicroStream. So as it's done, this will also work with Helidon 3, but now it works for Helidon 1. And what do we have here? So if it's Java, Java minus jar, target, and yeah, just Helidon jar. Ah, of course, the address is already in use. At least this exception is easier to handle. So we just have to stop this service. Okay, let me switch back. Nice. So now it's available, and now it's doing the storage of all objects. Products. Oh, there's Pokemons. Left. Oh, wait a second. What was the controller name? Oh, it's just yeah, products. Yes. And it will read all the information from the database. Currently, we don't need we don't have stored objects, so we just return nothing. But as you see, even with just a CDI extension, you just annotate your class as a storage, and you simply inject the persistor, and you start working with your code the way it was just usually you do with the code. You just at some point call the persisters and store it. And that's probably it. So that's another way. Hopefully it will be Jacardified soon. And the main question actually is that why would you care for that? I mean, we already have a lot of stuff with all this hibernates, JPAs, eclipses, and so on and so on. And I believe that I have created a really small demo for why you actually should do this. I wonder if it will work right now because this demo goals are not with me today. But just give me a second. So yes, it should be here. It's my Pokemon example, not my, but actually DB client Pokemons. It's in extensions CDI. Yeah, here it is. So what we have here, this is an extended example of what we will have in Helidon example sets. And what we have here, so for example, we have a service which stores Pokemons in database and provides it to us. So we have an entity, which is a Helidon, which is a Pokemon, and you have a Pokemon type, which is another entity, which somehow relates to Pokemon. And you have a resource which provides them. So we can just take Pokemon by ID, create Pokemon by ID, etc., etc. On the other hand, I have created another object, which is a copy from that Pokemon, but it's just a Pojo. You see here are no annotations at all. So this is, I call it MS Pokemon, or MicroStream Pokemon. It does absolutely the same, but it's pure Java object without any, annotations for them. And I have created like two benchmarks, which are extremely stupid, but I believe that they somehow provide you understanding of why this may be a game changer. Actually, we were thinking about it. And first of all, I want to set, for example, make it. The first benchmark will be a just usual database call with storing 100,000 Pokemons in a database. And just getting the number out of them. And another thing will be done with same with MicroStream, we just store 100,000 Pokemons and see how fast it is to work in just to compare. So let us start it. So I will just run it, I guess. I guess it's already pre-compiled, so I hope it will work. Yes, this time it did work nicely. And what we will do, we will just first set some Pokemons with database. You see, now we're saving all those 100,000 Pokemons in database, and you've got like 2 seconds of doing that. And if we do the same things with MicroStream, will provide us the same or even easier operations because you work with just objects. That's it. You see, it went from 2000 milliseconds, like 2 seconds, to like 200 milliseconds. And that's why for microservices with this full integration, I personally believe this might be a kind of a game changer as we're using 2 of these technologies, which are nicely integrated together. So I think I'm very close to finishing my demo. So this is the information we can read more about MicroStream as it's done. So we have a Twitter and a site and a GitHub, of course, and a YouTube channel with videos. And here you can read more information about Helidon. We're mostly in Twitter and on our Medium blog, but we also have videos in YouTube. And if you need questions, just go to Helidon Slack and ask them. But I personally believe this combination of 2 technologies, as you see in the last demo, it is a really game changer and makes you work really nice with Java objects without, any complex or web technologies, and it simply changes everything. So if we need to know more about Helidon, so we are writing a book together with Dmitry Alexandrov and Daniel Katz. So please, it's in MEEP now, but all the chapters are coming quite soon. Thank you so much for your attention. By the way, there's another talk I usually promote. It's a talk by my colleague Thomas Lange. He will tell you about our new project called NEMA for using virtual threads in web frameworks. So just visit him tomorrow. And with it, I want to say a big thank you. And once again, sorry for that demo not working, but it's something local. All these demos are available directly in the Helidon examples repository. So just go there and play with them. I hope you like it, and thank you so much.